BOPPPS is a lesson planning model designed by a group of Canadian post-secondary educators as part of the Instructional Skills Workshop. It's a 6-element model that helps establish an active, learner-centered classroom. Before we get into the actual elements of lesson planning, I'd like you to think about a favorite novel or movie, and how it usually takes you on some kind of journey or adventure. There are many things that happen along the way, from the beginning, through the middle, to the end. It probably keeps you engaged through the whole story. And that's exactly what BOPPPS helps you do for every lesson: establish a strong beginning, work through new learning, and finish with a satisfying conclusion. Let's start with the beginning phase of the BOPPPS model. This introduction to the lesson is made up of 3 elements: a bridge-in, the B, identification of the intended outcomes, the O, and a pre-assessment, the first P. The purpose of the bridge is to get your students' attention. You're not sure what they've been experiencing before they come into your class, and you want to make sure they're ready to focus on the lesson. The most common way to establish relevance for the class is to use a hook. It could be a cognitive hook, something that gets them thinking, or makes them curious about the topic. It could also be an emotional hook that makes students care, laugh, be concerned, or feel good about what they're going to learn. The second element, outcomes, recommends that you clearly indicate what the students will know, think, value, or be able to do by the end of the class. This helps you identify and emphasize the most important concepts. Next comes a pre-assessment, where you get a sense of what students already know, or think about the topic. It helps you identify areas where you may need to spend a bit more time, or perhaps move a bit more quickly. Now we move into the middle, or body of your lesson. The participatory learning element makes up the largest part of your lesson, and is where the real learning happens. There are 2 main aspects of learning that happen here: the presentation of new knowledge and skills, balanced with opportunities for the learner to practice what they're learning in meaningful developmental activities. This brings us to the end phase of the lesson. Closing off a lesson involves 2 elements: a post-assessment, the last P, and a summary, the S. During post-assessment, you want to get a sense of what students have learned. Can they summarize the key takeaways? Can they apply what they've learned? This helps learners solidify what's important. Each lesson needs a finish, a reminder of the key takeaways. It may be a quick summary or even a quote that leaves your students thinking about what they've learned. Consider it a bow on the package. So next time you sit down to plan a lesson, remember the 6 elements of the BOPPPS model. Start with your bridge, outcomes and a pre-assessment, involve the students through participatory learning, and finish off with a post-assessment and summary. Happy lesson planning!